It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belgast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again, time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 293. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hi.
Grace.
Hermit crabs are not bugs.
Kodra.
I'm so sorry, Grace.
Nephsys.
Hello.
Tamriello.
I never claimed hermit crabs were bugs. On the record.
Like, we knew you would be sad about that. Like, and it's not an us thing. Like, it's an Animal Crossing thing.
Yeah, it's Blathers you need to yell at, not us.
Still mad.
But they are crunchy on the outside and have too many legs.
Are they creamy on the inside?
I mean, they kind of are.
At least until you cook them. So that was a weird intro.
You're welcome. I haven't been here for a while. Did you miss me?
Yeah, so we recorded a sound check before this, and like Grace's line was, "We're living in a hellscape."
It's accurate.
It's true.
Objectively true.
Not wrong.
Yeah, like so we're continuing to make it through isolation mode. Largely keeping our spirits in check, I think. We have Neph with us tonight because, you know, she popped on the server and we didn't want to isolate her out of the channel while we're recording, so...
I got kidnapped.
Neph's been on, I don't know, several shows at this point, I think.
A handful. It's been a while since the last one, though.
Yeah, it probably would have been one of the Final Fantasy wrap-up shows where we talked about, like, the main story.
Very likely.
Yeah, but I don't even think it was for the last expansion.
Did we do one for the last expansion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did one for Shadowbringers.
It took us a long time, but yes.
Yeah, we haven't talked about anything post the initial Shadowbringers main story yet.
Well, and I know
need to.
We still haven't done the Games of the Decade show either.
That was supposed to be done 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Stuff happened.
Yeah, well.
Like,
It feels like it's been a decade since then.
I mean, I've only been remote for 2 weeks, and it feels like I've been remote for, like, years.
March has been the longest decade ever.
So, last week we had a topic that got bumped, because we thought it would take too long. So, this looks like Tam put it on the list, but I know it involves a bunch of other people. So, Stellaris.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, in 2016? Holy hell, is the game that old now?
It is.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Paradox decided that they wanted to branch out a bit from all that grand strategy stuff and make a 4X game that still had grand strategy components because they're still Paradox. And they made Stellaris. Stellaris was pretty good. It was not a balanced game. I mean, it's still not a balanced game. But it has gotten many updates since it launched.
It's the Warframe of 4X games.
Paradox has found a model that works for them, and it works very well.
And, like, these aren't small updates. Like, I played Stellaris a whole bunch when it first came out, and then I felt like I had seen what the game had to offer, and one of the things that I really wanted to do wasn't really supported in any way at all, so I kind of checked out of it. And, like, now it's supported.
Like, Paradox has a history, you know, with Europa Universalis and Crusader Kings of basically what other companies would do as a sequel. They just, you know, release an add-on for the game and rebalance everything and, like, completely remove and replace mechanics. And that's what they're doing here.
It's like entire systems. Like, it's pretty impressive.
I miss all the warp drives.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you played Stellaris back when it first came out and haven't played since, and you go to play it now, it's like a completely different game.
I recommend turning the tutorial back on.
Yes.
So, I do feel like, I kind of miss old warp drives, but all at the same time, the warp drive technology was absolutely not balanced.
No,
not even remotely.
And so...
not even close.
And it also, like... It also meant that playing defense kind of didn't make sense. And so now there's, like, you can find chokeholds into space because, like, there's only one warp drive into it and turtle up in that area.
Yeah, you can actually protect your empire on the outskirts instead of, having to just chase the enemy around and around and around, trying to catch up with it.
Yeah, and it's neat sort of building. It's neat kind of building your own like space civilization that does like whatever space civilization things you want to do. Whether that's like, hey, we're super diplomats, or like we're super tech. We're like the super tech empire, or we eat everybody.
Yeah.
I won a game this week without ever going to war.
Nice.
I mean,
Like,
you had war declared on you, sort of.
I mean, I had the crises.
I guess that's fair. You had
Like-
the cons, then you had the war in heaven, and then you had the actual crisis.
And it was
But
the
you
only.
didn't get any other attacks on your empire.
Yep, there was no, and I didn't declare any. I was as pacifistic as it was possible to be, and it was really fun.
Did you have any time where you claimed territory from anyone?
Nope.
I mean,
I took the territory that I had, and I built up the territory that I had.
didn't you end up subjugating the former Khanate and integrating them?
I didn't subjugate them at all. They asked.
I guess that's fair. They asked to be your subject.
Yeah, I was. They were like, "Hey, you're pretty great. Can you be our patron?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And then later they were like, "Why don't we integrate?" And I'm like, "Okay." It was super peaceful.
I'm playing the opposite of that.
Are you super murdery?
Well, I'm a fanatic purifier. I don't actually... So one of the things that I am kind of disappointed is there's this whole intricate system about how war is waged. I don't interact with that at all. I I take people's terrain. I actually have no capability of interacting diplomatically with other empires whatsoever. Like, I can't send envoys. I can't even declare rivalries.
You can yell at them. That's basically it.
I can't even say, I view these people as my rival. I can insult them, and then I can tell them, we're going to war. And I don't have to put a claim on their system. If I beat them if I beat their system, I take it. Now, the converse
downside
is
of that
true.
is, yeah.
So you're basically a raider faction.
Yeah. Well,
Sort of. You can also just be a raider faction and take other people's pops.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a slightly different thing.
I don't take other people's pops.
You eat them.
Sure, that's what we're doing. We're fanatic purifier. As soon as I take over a planet, I start decreasing the population of any Xeno on there.
Yeah, you do a lot of genocides.
Yep, you're the baddies.
Oh, I am very much the baddies.
It's hilarious because I was definitely not, despite having an actual Death Star that I used to blow up a planet with the Zerg on it.
Details.
Okay,
I mean,
so you never
the
went to
probably
war, but you did
thankful.
blow up a planet. Got it.
Like, it's the Zerg. I mean, the galaxy's probably thankful.
Yeah, like they were like, it's kind of horrifying that you have a planet-destroying super weapon, but also you seem to only use it responsibly.
Please use your super weapons responsibly.
And did it not start an arms race of everybody trying to get to the same level of super weapon?
I mean, it might have, but
I got declared on, so you never got to find out.
Yeah, my level, I mean, I did, some other people did have them by the end. And there were some wars declared because other people had them, but never me. But also my tech level was like, so I was playing the Quarians. You play, like, not the actual Quarians, but basically, we only exist in space. We don't land on planets. We just have, like, big orbital habitats and a giant fleet. All of the problems I ever had with my nation involved having to deal with planet dwellers. Like, damn it, now we're responsible for people who live on rocks and not on proper spaceships. And of course they're not happy because they live on rocks.
I mean, this is actually a really funny thing. A real downside to being a fanatic purifier is that I can't have diverse species. And diverse species is really powerful in this game. Like, you want to encourage immigration from other empires because if they are habitable on different types of planets, that opens up all of those planets for you to colonize.
Yep.
Yeah, I super love it's like there's the minor concern that like you've got to deal with different factions who want different things the more diverse your populace is. But even that you can get a bunch of really great stuff out of, because if all of your people agree, like if your people are like super unified and agree on basically everything and you don't have factions, then your ability to influence the rest of the galaxy is hindered.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a resource. Your influence is a resource, and the more different factions you manage, the more opportunity that you have to get influence, which is interesting.
Yeah, I've been playing as a hive mind a bit, not one that eats people. And one of the things is you don't get factions, so it's hard to increase your influence. I managed to become friendly enough to start a federation, though, so that's where all my influence is currently going.
I really want to play the Wall-E robots next. I think that faction is hilarious.
So yeah, one of the interesting things is there's sort of 4 different vectors that you can define your population by, and 2 sides to each of those. So you have, how do you interact with other aliens? You can be a xenophile or a xenophobe. And then there's, how do you interact with technology? You can be a materialist or a spiritualist. How do you interact with war? You can be militarist or pacifist. And then, boy, I'm trying to remember the last one.
It's authority.
Oh, yeah. How do you deal with government? Do you want a absolute government, authoritarian, or you can be egalitarian?
That one used to be individualist and collectivist until they figured out that those didn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
But each of those combinations have some other special things and can lead to wildly different play styles.
Yeah. Basically, you have 3 points to divide among those axes, so you could put 3 of those things at 1 step, or one of them at 2 steps and one at 1 step, which is more common. So you could be like fanatic materialist and then egalitarian. And
with the latest release, the big thing from the latest release is Origins. Origins let you have a unique start, like a unique thing to your species. So that was where Tam is getting his, all of his people live in habitats that float above planets.
Yeah. Prior to this, you started as a race of aliens or a race of people on a planet. Now you can be a race of people that live in space stations.
A lot of these origins actually existed before, but as civics, which are basically how your government works. And they stripped out all the civics that were, this is a thing that happened to you, and kept the ones that are, this is how you function now.
Yeah. So origins are also how you can be Krypton.
Yeah.
You can start with your planet being a ticking time bomb, if you so desire.
They do say that this is a intentionally difficult start.
But it does make things super interesting. I really enjoy the variety that provides. It's like, oh hey, we live on a ring world that somebody made irresponsibly.
Yeah, that's actually an officially supported thing now.
Yeah.
You don't have to download Ash's mod for that.
You can also
I've always thought that mod was kind of overpowered, and it is. But now that there's an official one, I think that's even more overpowered.
It's fair.
The official one is more overpowered?
Yes. I don't do anything that works like the arcade generator.
The official one is super powerful, but it is real finicky.
Oh, yes.
So you can build these, like, I've been playing in this one, and I sent my entire society into a death spiral that I barely pulled out of by building a science district in my ring world. And it created so many science jobs that 100% of my population decided to all be scientists.
Oops.
And not like work in the fields or do trades or make energy or make the consumer goods that scientists need to function.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't trade science in the market for what you need.
Yeah.
I would like to buy 1 unit of science, please.
Nope. So yeah, I had 100%. 100% of my population were scientists. There was no food. Everyone is starving. I'm desperately selling a surplus of like rare resources.
So I just totally pictured like somebody trying to trade like beakers and Bunsen burners for food.
Basically.
No, I'm pretty sure they're trying to trade like scientific papers.
Everyone's
It's really
trying to
good.
publish.
I promise.
They're not worth food.
And like at one point I was like, all right, I'm shutting down half of the science jobs. And all of the people decided to just continue being unemployed and mad about it, then like pick food for people to eat or become artisans or anything. Like they wouldn't keep the society functioning.
Damn it, we're scientists now. We're going to do
specialists, like scientists, do not want to become workers for like some relatively long in-game period. I think it's 4 years or 5 years.
I mean, that checks out.
I had to invent robots.
Like they spent all this time doing science, and now they can't do anything else.
And they could be artisans.
Yeah, but they didn't want to be. They wouldn't do it.
I mean, to be fair, you can't eat artwork either.
I mean,
Yeah, you can
think
trade
about
art
it.
for food.
Shut down their research at a critical moment. They're angry about it.
Eventually we did solve the problem with science. They invented robots to do all of the food shopping for them.
Perfect.
I mean, that's a little bit of engineering, too. You at least had to convince somebody to work the robot making factory.
Nobody had any
job.
Nobody had any problem. Like I built that thing and they populated it immediately. I'm
That's
guessing
hilarious.
it's the same person. Like invented
Somebody
robots.
really loved robots.
Yeah, somebody really loved robots.
I mean, to be fair, who doesn't love robots?
So, another thing that I don't remember from the base game is there is a lot more weird stuff that can happen in this game.
I mean, they've added a lot of things over
That's
the years.
basically happened every single time there's a patch of any size. There are more events.
I mean, there have been a couple of patches that were pretty much entirely new events.
Well, so this is not even events I'm talking about. Like, I do not feel like in my game I have encountered any sort of what I would consider an event yet, but I have managed to turn my entire population into psychics, and I have encountered the Shroud, where I have made contact in a covenant with an old one.
Look, 40k gods are good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure are.
That was added with Utopia. They added ways for your population to ascend, and your options are either biological, psychic, or robots.
Yep, I went psychic.
Thanks to a bizarre quirk, I managed to get to psychic robots. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen.
I didn't think that was supposed to be possible. Yeah.
There are some rare circumstances that can get you psychic traits when you're not supposed to be able to get them.
Yep.
One of them is getting racket refugees, because rackets are psychic and have a million bad traits on top of that, but they're psychic, so you can have access to that stuff.
I had one that was like, you open this box and decide to drink what's inside, and now all of your people are psychic. You don't get a say in the matter. Except all of my people were robots. So now I have psychic robots. Mostly not seeing a downside, honestly.
I mean, if the robots take over, then you just have to invent kaiju to fight the robots.
That's a planetary hazard that already exists.
Both of those can happen. It's a whole thing. I've always liked the various ways you can play basic humans, because you can play like Starfleet basically, and that's pretty good. And I want a mod so bad, and it probably exists one. I just need to find it. But I want one that replaces all of the ships with Starfleet ships.
That exists. I mean, it doesn't replace all of the ships.
I mean, it doesn't have to replace all of the ships, but if it replaces most of the ships, I'm happy. Especially like the big ones with big Enterprise style ships. Like that would be amazing. But you can also play like the Mirror Universe Starfleet, where the humans are like xenophobic militarists.
Like these are the two human races that exist already in the game without you even having to design your own.
There's a third one now.
And if they run into each other, they hate each other.
Oh yeah, they
I think there's
absolutely
just two.
No, there's one where you start on Earth, you are robots, and you take care of humans. Like you have like a small population of just like pampered luxury humans that you.
I didn't think that was a pre-made empire, but I know you can do that.
Oh, I thought it was pre-made. Maybe it's not.
It might be one of somebody else's pre-mades.
You play as Wally robots. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the available origins is robots that are taking care of the remnants of a biological race.
They also added. They've got so you can have if you make robots and your robots become sentient, like one of the bad things that can happen is you can have a robot revolution on your hands. Especially if you like trample all over your robot rights.
I was going to say you can give them rights and then they won't do that.
Yeah. Just always give your robots rights. If your robots are sentient, give them rights. It doesn't seem that difficult.
I don't know if that's going to fly with my folks.
It turns out that the opposite is also true.
Yeah, I didn't realize that could happen, but apparently
robots can get an organics, basically like can have organic workers to do their menial labor, and those can rise up, and robots can have to deal with an organic uprising. Which is really funny to me.
So one thing I kind of want to say about this game is definitely play with the tutorial on. I had played this game a lot back in the day. When I jumped back in, it was an impressive amount of, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, lots of mechanics have been completely pulled out and replaced wholesale.
There is a lot in this game.
It's one of my favorite things about Paradox games, because Crusader Kings 2 is very much like this as well, where there are a whole bunch of interlocking systems. There's so many of them, but you don't really need to care. Like, you can play the game perfectly competently and even like win and do very, very well without having like a deep understanding of every system in the game. And you can go absolutely nuts trying to have a deep understanding of every system in the game, because like a lot of the origins and a lot of the backgrounds and like things that you do specifically remove mechanics so that you don't have to worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's designed so that you don't have to understand everything about the game. And like some of the harder origins to start with are ones that are like, no, you need to know more systems. You need to understand. You have to interact with more systems.
Yeah. Like like Kodra was saying, if you don't want to have to worry about the claims system and all of that, like figuring out how you can take systems from other empires via war, you can play a Fanatic Purifier, and then you don't have to worry about claims.
Yeah.
You can always go to war, and you can always take any system.
If you don't want to worry about food and luxury goods and so on, you can be robots. Robots don't care about those things.
Hive minds still care about food, but they don't care about a lot of other things like trade or luxury goods.
If you don't want to worry about planet habitability, you can play rock people.
Yep.
Man, that was always my favorite in Master of Orion, is the silicoids.
Yep. You can play all kinds of...
They're here now.
You got
the
them.
silicoids are here. They grow very, very slowly, but they grow everywhere.
Yeah, because like my thing with silicoids was always, I'm just going to build nothing but colony ships for the first several turns and inhabit everything that I can drop a planet on. Because like I can inhabit all of them.
That was my first attempt back to this game, was playing the lithoids. And like I was intentionally trying to play like the crystal gems, right? And so I was like, oh, let's start with the origin that starts me in a federation because we're peaceful now. And boy, that's a weird start with a lot of mechanics. And I also didn't realize that lithoids had that habitability modifier. So I found myself completely boxed in and was like, I have no idea how this game works. It was a brutal learning experience for me.
And now I have the Steven Universe theme song going in my head.
That was their welcome cry, was "We are the Crystal Gems."
So are federations actually useful now?
Yes, federations now. Well, I have no idea what this is like if you don't have the DLC, because the most recent DLC is called Federations, and one of its primary things was a big change to how federations work. But in it, if you have a federation, your federation has a cohesion level, which is mostly based on how well your empires actually should be in a federation. You can sort of adjust it by sending envoys to your federation to represent you and do diplomacy things. But your federation will gain cohesion and gradually level up and give you more bonuses to everybody in the Federation over time.
Okay. It sounds like it actually serves a purpose instead of just meaning that 75% of the time you can't go to war.
You can also change Federation policies like, we just want a majority vote to go to war, rather than requiring unanimous.
You can also have hegemonic federations.
That's a federation that's definitely a bit of a different thing. So they added several different federation types. There's the basic one. There's a research-focused one, which gives you automatic research agreements between all members. There's a trade-focused one, which alters everyone's trade policy. There is a military one, I want to say. Yeah. Which has a stronger Federation fleet. And then there's the hegemony, which gives more bonuses to the leader than it does to other people in the Federation. And other people in the Federation can't leave it unless the leader says so.
Aha.
If they attempt to, and the leader says no, you actually get a CV on the leader. You can go to war over that. Of course, that means you're going to war with the rest of your Federation, so good luck.
Right.
Clearly, you need to ally with the other members of your Federation to all get that CV.
Why can't I access the Steam Workshop page?
Might need to boot it back up and pull the Space Lizard technocracy back out of mothballs and make a research federation.
We've been playing, so like Ash and Kodra and I and a couple other friends of ours have done a like local board game night for a while, by which I mean like the last 3 or 4 years. And, but like, obviously we're not doing that now.
Right.
And so, Stellaris Wednesdays has become our, like, board game night replacement. It works shockingly well, and we can play with a lot of people.
Yeah, you can scale up the size of the galaxy quite large.
Yeah.
Well, and didn't they make some major efficiency improvements to the game
They did.
recently? So can you actually have the galaxy be quite large and it doesn't just chug?
I mean, it's been fine for me.
Good.
Yeah.
They definitely did this, though, by moving a lot of daily checks to monthly.
Right.
So the end of the month, after a while, it seems to last a little longer than other days. Average performance is definitely a lot better.
Okay. I think this next one is an Ash topic.
Maybe.
One Step from Eden.
One Step from Eden. So One Step from Eden is a game made by somebody who got mad that the Battle Network series is dead. That's definitely the main thing going on here. It is I don't even know if we have a good term for this. We've been going with roguelike, but it's only kind of that way. It's the same structure as like Slay the Spire and Dicey Dungeon, so on and so forth. You start a game, you try to get as far as you can. When you die, you're done. Except instead of it being turn-based or dice-based or card-based, it's Mega Man Battle Network.
Okay, for someone who has never played that, explain what that means, please.
Okay, that is a game. The Battle Network games had you fight on a 3x6 grid in which half of it was your territory and half of it was the opponent's territory, in which you got to move around and fire battle chips at your opponents, which were special attacks, or if you ran out, you could fire your gun, which didn't do a lot, but it was something. Here, they've expanded that to 4x8, and there are a lot more enemies, and they're a lot faster. This game is really quite difficult. I'm having a lot of fun with it so far, but it takes some work. It's got a learning curve that is high.
So was this a Kickstarter, or...?
This was a Kickstarter, like, probably 2 years ago. Currently, it's out on PC and Switch. I believe it's mostly the work of one person. I think with some help on music.
The game looks gorgeous. Like, it looks really cool watching people. Like, I've not played this game. It looks really cool to watch people play this game.
It's a little visually overwhelming.
I definitely agree with that. There are some decisions, especially with some big arcing attacks that hit a tile, where they were overly fancy with the animation. For the most part, I'd say its messaging is an improvement over the actual Battle Network games, but not a very high bar.
So, what platform were the original Mega Man Battle Network games on? Were they GBA?
They were all GBA. There were 6 of them in total, although after 3, they decided to make them in pairs because Pokemon money. they had even less use of being paired game than Pokemon games do. So I don't know how that worked out. But if you don't want to go quite back to the GBA, there was one released on the DS, but it was Game 5. So I'm really hoping Capcom seems to be in a remake mood, so I'm hoping these come back. There are things missing here, like there are not much in the way of RPG mechanics. Your starting health is your starting health. You might pick up an artifact or two that raises it. You definitely don't get stronger on new runs. Like the only meta regression is options and characters.
That's also true in most of the Dicey Dungeons / Slay the Spire type games. Our runs, how long does it take to complete a run? Or I guess, have you completed a run?
I have not completed a run. I usually die sometime between 30 minutes if I'm doing real well, or a boss fight takes a long time.
So
I believe you have to get through 7 stages in order to actually beat the game.
Oof. But you're getting progressively more powerful throughout those stages, right?
Yes. One of the things that I didn't pick up at first, though, is sometimes it's better to not take more cards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the case in Slay the Spire as well.
Yep.
Keep your deck tight.
You want to build a proper deck.
Is there a mechanic to remove cards from your deck?
There is. You start with one removal and can buy more if you come across the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
Yep. So how does the card work? Like, do they just sort of pop up?
You use them and you draw another card.
Okay.
And you can hit a button to shuffle your deck, or when you run out of cards, your deck gets reshuffled.
There's not a ton of real-time card manipulation. There are a few cards that add a completely useless card to your deck as a cost, basically. But also I've run across a card that uses those useless cards as a resource, so
yep.
It's not really like Wounds and Slay the Spire, because you can just shuffle if you really don't want to see them, or you can just use them if you're okay with it, incurring their mana cost. But I'm having a lot of fun with this game. It does appear that they made it harder to unlock characters than it was in the preview. You have to beat them after a certain stage rather than just if you beat a character, you unlock that character.
Yeah, my immediate experience was that I've played now 5 runs, and I haven't unlocked anything new other than cards that might appear. And I'm kind of losing steam because it's not giving me a very varied experience. I think I would like it better if I could try different characters.
Do you start with just the one?
You start with just one. You start with just one. I have no ability to customize my start in any way. I've unlocked some stuff, or at least it's told me I've unlocked some stuff, but I haven't. But I don't actually I don't know how I unlock anything else, and it doesn't really seem to want to tell me.
I will say this game does have a bit of an indie game thing going on where it doesn't tell you useful things.
Yeah,
that's definitely a problem with it.
I played my first 3 runs before realizing that there was a basic attack. It's oh, this is a bullet hell shooter. There's a button I can hold to shoot. I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't actually use that button a whole lot on the starting character, but yeah, it's definitely a thing.
I mean, I basically just hold that button the entire time, because why not?
Mostly because I might hit something I don't want to.
Oh, I've almost never run into something that I wouldn't want to shoot. But yeah, it's...
One of the other characters has a really big gun, and on him, I use that button a lot. His gun costs mana to shoot, but if you hit something, you get a refund. So he also starts with no mana regen whatsoever, so he's kind of an interesting character to play.
So I just looked it up, and I see how you unlock characters. You have to beat them as bosses on the 4th world or further, which, considering I've never even gotten there, means that I'm not unlocking characters anytime soon.
I do think Saffron is one of the best characters.
Sure.
Her starting deck is better than a lot of the others.
I mean, sure. But it's kind of like...
But yeah, I felt this way about Risk of Rain, too. Commando is one of the best characters, but unless you unlock others, you don't get a lot of variation.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, is I don't mind if a game with a bunch of starting options starts me with only one, but those new ones need to unlock real fast. At least give me a few different playstyle options so that I can, because it gives me some perspective so I can understand the game mechanics better.
Yeah, I agree with you there. In the preview, the characters unlocked after you beat them at all.
Yeah.
including the shopkeeper, who I can't even imagine how hard that is to unlock now.
Yeah, isn't the shopkeeper only after you unlock everyone?
No, she unlocked, well, previously she unlocked after you beat her, but you beat her by attacking her as a shopkeeper, which is an awful, awful, awful idea.
Oh, whoops.
Don't ever attack the shopkeeper.
I've learned this from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Have you attacked Kecleon there yet?
No, but you've told me not to.
Okay.
I learned this from NetHack.
I mean, it still applies. The shopkeeper, if you attack the shopkeeper, if you attack her a little bit, she doesn't do anything, thankfully. Because I've done this by accident now, too. If you attack her a lot, she drops a lot of money on your field, which you can then pick up, and you start fighting. Mostly this means she blows you up probably instantly. She's got a bunch of attacks that are basically impossible to dodge. Most people I saw unlocked her in World 1 or World 2 during the preview. If you have to beat her on World 4 or later now, that's rough, because her HP goes up way faster than the actual bosses do. I don't know. I do feel like the character unlock method should be a little easier.
I mean, I might just look up some cheats and unlock them that way.
It also sounds like there is a developer oversight with one of the spells, which is overly strong. So I might try that in my next run.
Oh.
Rock Cycle is a spell that generates flow and is returned to your deck if you have flow when you cast it.
I have no idea what any of the buffs or debuffs do, because...
Flow does nothing unless it has a spell that does something on flow.
Yeah.
Same for Trinity, though that one's persistent and doesn't go away if you cast a non-Trinity spell.
This game definitely needs...
an instruction manual?
An hour more tutorial. Because it would be... I think I'd be really, really into it if it were like, hey... we've put together a sample flow deck for you. We put together a sample Trinity deck, a sample whatever. Here's why you might care about blowing up tiles versus building up these buffs versus freeze or whatever versus all of these other things. Now go out and we'll give you, you can kind of craft your deck based on what you know. Whereas currently I'm just like, I don't know, that ability seems fine. But I'm not, at no point is a deck coalescing. And I don't really know how to make a deck coalesce in any way that makes any sense. And it's like I could just keep bashing my face against it until I understand its mechanics, or just like go online and read about them until I understand the game without playing it. But I wish it happened more organically. It is pretty fun. It is pretty fun though. And the animations are incredibly slick.
To some extent, I actually enjoyed that experience, but I've also already done that. Like, this game had an extensive test period. Yeah.
I think having missed the extensive test period, there's a huge knowledge gap that I'm not seeing. Because I bet because the test period probably...
I kind of agree with you. I think the developers might have overcompensated for some things.
Yeah.
I say developers like it's not one person.
Because I bet if I'd started this when it first entered Greenlight, or the test period, and they were still adding features, it was like, oh, okay, they added this new thing. It changes these things. I get it now. It would serve as a really great tutorial.
Rather than the game being a giant pile of systems, which is what it currently is.
Yeah, and none of them are explained. And you can do what I did and accidentally skip the entire tutorial by picking up your controller.
They added press to confirm on a lot of things today.
Yeah.
Probably to prevent that from happening.
That's good. That's very good.
Maybe that should have happened earlier.
Probably. So on things like remove a card has press to confirm. The decide not to take a card has press to confirm.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, is it left trigger or right trigger is the button?
By default, left trigger to do these things.
Yeah, well, it also skips the tutorial. So it was like, hey, try hitting this button. So I went to pick up my controller and I hit the button and then it just started the game. And I was like, wait a second, wait, what? And then I died. I want more games with this absolutely gorgeous level of pixel animation, though. I cannot emphasize enough how great the pixel animation is. It's full of personality. I want the side-scrolling platformer version of this game just to run around as these characters, run and jump around as these characters, because it's just a joy to watch them move. The enemies are great. All the named characters are great.
You heard the good news of crosscode.
I guess I should try that. Every time I've heard you and Kojo talk about it, it sounds like a mess of systems that I don't want to get into.
Oh, I don't. I feel like it's less of a mess of systems than some other games I'm playing right now.
It's fair.
I don't know. Crosscode is also a game I think of as a beautifully animated 2D game.
It is a beautifully animated 2D game.
And also, they decided to make its main character a skin for the main character in this game.
Nice.
You can play as Leah?
Yes.
Nice.
I don't know what it takes to unlock this. I'm sure I could look it up and it would be horrifying.
Probably. I do love the sort of resurgence of beautiful 2D animated pixel art, though.
Oh, no, that's not... The answer is to get a Calamity spell, which is a rainbow border spell, as the main character, as Saffron. This is still yet to happen to me, but I've only unlocked one, so presumably that will happen eventually. A lot of these others, however, make no fucking sense. Have 0 max mana, unlocks a character. Win a boss fight with 1 HP, unlocks a character. Have 1 spell in your deck, unlocks a character. That one's probably doable.
1 spell left in your deck, or 1 spell in your deck, period?
1 spell total.
Just get down to the 1 spell you want to spam?
I guess. Maybe stack up on things that do something when you reload, because that's a thing. There's an artifact I've seen a bunch which just does 20 damage to all enemies when you reload.
Oh, so you can't deck out in this game?
Correct. And unlike, say, Chain of Memories, each reload is a constant amount of time and it doesn't take progressively longer.
That's good.
I don't know. Hopefully I can beat this game at some point in the near future. It took me a long time to beat Risk of Rain the first time, so I'm not holding out a lot of hope. But apparently I have time.
I feel like we all have lots of time to explore things, whether or not we want them.
And honestly, even if you don't like this game, which I mean, it's a pretty niche game, I can understand it. Like,
It's definitely a niche game.
It's worth looking into it just for the like beautiful art, because it really just has gorgeous art. I want it to tell me what's going on, because I don't have any clue whatsoever what is going on, but there's enough like little narrative snippets that I'm curious, but I don't think it's going to tell me what's going on.
I have some suspicion it's not going to tell you what's going on. I would like to know as well. Maybe this is just my thing. Like, Risk of Rain never tells you either. Just, you crashed here, go get your ship and get off the planet, and you get a one-line epilogue that doesn't say a whole lot.
I don't necessarily mind that. I mean, this has like hints of a narrative world that they've created.
Yeah, like the characters have some pre-existing relationships between each other.
Yeah, and like one person was like, "Remember when I said I'd kill you last?" I'm like, "No. When did you say that? Under what circumstances? I want to know."
Was that the ice one?
Yeah.
She doesn't seem very nice.
No, but like there was some hint of narrative there that I'd like. And my concern is that it doesn't actually exist. It's like a facade, which would bug me because it always bugs me.
Yeah.
But I really like these sort of Magitech games, which is this interesting mix of like surprisingly high technology and crazy magic stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool aesthetic.
The aesthetic is incredible. I want it. Play games with that aesthetic all day long.
So would you recommend this game on Switch over PC? Or...
Not sure. I'm playing it on PC.
Okay.
I'm also playing it on PC, but I'm playing it with a controller.
I'm also playing with a controller. The mouse controls are fine, though.
So you're playing it on PC?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm curious, does anyone know if there's been reports of how good it is on the Switch?
No clue. That's part of why I'm asking.
I mean, I do own it on Switch, so I'll check it and report back.
Because I'm interested, but I don't know where I want it.
If only cross-buy across like console and PC was a thing on anything other than the Xbox.
Yeah,
honestly, like, I mostly am just buying console games on the Switch these days.
I've been seriously considering picking up The Witcher 3 on Switch so I can lean on that whole cloud saves thing for when I want to play it, but I don't want to play it at my PC.
I have almost done this because, like, there's certain aspects of that game that would be just fun to play from bed.
Yeah. Or like just
I spend a lot of time in that game just running around, just doing random shit.
Yeah. I love the idea. Like, I love the idea of shared cloud saves where I can hop to different devices. I hope we get there. Like, I would pay a bit extra, you know, like the equivalent of deluxe edition upgrade to be able to cross-play a game on multiple different things.
I honestly would feel perfectly fine just buying a client on that. There's a lot of games I would pay full price for, so long as I could carry my save over.
This is true. I would. Yeah,
I just buy the client like full price, and then link it up, kind of like you can with Destiny, and then just play. Because I love the whole cross save thing on Destiny. Like, I've actually played some on the Xbox and played some on the PS4. I mostly played on the PC, but it's just nice knowing I can bring everything with me to this platform. Because, that's the biggest thing that stops me from picking up games on other platforms is knowing that, there's going to be... say I made it 16 hours into the game. Well, I don't want to repeat that 16 hours of the game. Sure, I can optimize it the next time around, but I'd really rather just carry the save over with me. Because, there are games like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, that I'm perfectly fine playing through from scratch over and over and over, but that's the exception rather than the rule. Most games I probably only want to play through once. So I did, since this topic's kind of wound its way down, I did want to talk a little bit about Animal Crossing, since that's kind of been the game that I've been playing the most this week. There's certain aspects of this game that I like, and then there's certain aspects of this game that seriously harm my calm. And I think how fundamentally I did not understand Animal Crossing is represented by the fact that on day one I was tweeting asking people how to progress the day. And so on some level I think it's cool that you can just play for a few minutes each day. But when I want to do something serious, it bugs me that I can't progress it without, effectively cheating and disconnecting my game from the internet and resetting the clock of the game. Because you do reach a cap where I've done everything I can for today. And if it happens to be a day that I want to play a lot, that dynamic kind of feels bad.
You can always earn more bells.
Well, it's the same problem I have with games with dailies. And no ability to save up dailies and just do them all in one day. Because now I feel obligated to play a little bit of Animal Crossing every day, in order to keep my bonus going in the office and all those things. So I am trying to play the game super casually, because anytime I try and play it more seriously, it bugs me that the only way around that is to reset the game. And so many people that I've seen screenshots from are in August or in, September or October, because they've been habitually pushing it forward with the system clock. And I kind of like the fact that I have somehow managed to keep myself from doing that, so that I'm playing in real time. But when you miss something during the day, it feels real bad, because then you're basically one full day behind everybody else. For whatever reason, I missed the whole thing about the camp. So, I don't have a camp yet, but I probably should have had a camp a couple days ago.
I just made mine today, so don't worry too much about it.
Same.
I don't have resident services yet.
Neither do I.
Okay.
What are resident services? Wait, what?
Eventually, the little tent that Nook has will get replaced with a more permanent building.
Mine is happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you have to have paid off a house?
Nope.
I don't even have a shop.
Oh, you don't have Nook and Cranny yet?
No. I think that happens today.
Okay. The resident services is not too long after that. I think I'm trying to order things. I think next
is
going to
an
be
inherently casual game.
It really is.
Really, don't worry if you're behind.
Yeah, don't worry too much about how far other people are into it, especially since there are lots of people cheating with time travel. So really don't worry about it.
So I did, there's a general question, I did see some images of house customization. Does that come from a much later house where you can change the door and change the the materials it's built out of? And
that's a feature of resident services.
Okay, I haven't figured that out yet.
Once the tent has been replaced, a new character will arrive on the island, And that character will... Actually, no, Nook is the one who lets you customize your house. But the new character lets you do things like customize your island flag and your island's theme song and stuff like that.
I absolutely customize my flag immediately.
Is the new character Doom Guy?
No, but it's
Close. The new character is Doom Guy's best friend.
Ah.
This is when Isabel shows up.
Yeah, she'll even sing your town theme when you change it. It's pretty adorable.
She will. It's really cute.
I have not changed it yet because I haven't figured out what I wanted to change it to.
Yes, my town is now flying the flag of Fredonia and has the Fredonian national anthem. I feel bad. I should have named my character Firefly to complete the whole gag, but
my town is the ill-named Pandemia because I thought it was funny because I was basically using the game to keep me calm while we're living in a pandemic. And I wasn't I didn't fully think that through, that basically that would be the name forever. So I have a town flag that looks like a P block, except for the P is rainbow colored.
Maybe you can find some panda stuff.
Maybe.
And
I do have a panda on my island.
There you go.
I have Pinky the panda rock star. So that's fine. If I can just get rid of the jock rat and the jock hamster, I'll probably be happy.
Oh yeah, I've decided I don't hate the squirrel all that much. He's kind of grown on me. I may let him stay.
I like my two adorable goats, and the mouse is kind of cute, but the hamster is too. But they're sports ball-ish, and that's not really a me thing.
I do have one question. I will eventually get more bridges, correct?
Yes,
but that will cost you lots of money.
The cheapest bridge isn't all that expensive. The most expensive bridge is a little over 200,000 bells. It's not.
As long as I can get another bridge, I'm happy. I just need the one.
Yeah.
I specifically need 2 more bridges.
Yeah, I've got my second bridge building now.
To make the log bridge, it's roughly 100K. It's 98,000 bells or something like that.
But again, resident services is when you get access to all that. The ability to build new bridges, the ability to build inclines so you can get up onto hills without using the ladder, the ability to move things around, all of that.
Sweet.
I've got an island in the center of the first area, and at some point I'm probably going to move my house to the island.
Yeah, the cheapest bridge is 98,000, the most expensive is 228.
I can deal with that.
I was kind of surprised that, after you get resident services, you can start moving around buildings already, but I don't know that I really want to start messing with that yet, except I might move my museum, because I put it right behind the plaza, and now I'm like, oh, this was probably not the smartest thing.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things I want to move eventually.
I kind of compacted everything, and I'm wishing I hadn't, so at some point I have a feeling that I'll farm up a bunch of bells and move almost everything.
Right now I'm building out an orchard on the western island of my island.
I'm slowly doing that each day, moving trees, but I have too many trees. But then I hate the idea of getting rid of the trees because the trees are a potential resource.
Yeah, you can always grow new trees. I came to the decision today that I need to stop being so obsessive about harvesting every tree because I've got 3 rows each of each type of wood in storage.
Same.
That's probably enough for a while.
I think you're good.
I also have a bad habit of planting money trees.
No, that's a good habit.
Yeah, how's that a bad habit?
I'm making crappy money trees though.
No, you can put 10,000 in every time. 10,000.
Yeah. So I have 2 of those, but then when I open up the hole, I'm oh, it gave me 1,000. Okay, I'll just put the 1,000 right back in. Because the 1,000, I want to say that 1,000 and 10,000 give you exactly the same thing, that you don't get a different one until you put 50,000 in.
No, the tree grows 3 bags, each of which is whatever you put in. Maximum of 10,000 per bag.
Now, I've heard that since the patch, or even since the initial patch, you can do 99 now.
Can you?
Yeah, I haven't tried it myself, but that is what I have heard.
But I've also heard the 99,000 tree takes 2 years to regenerate.
Oof.
Because like people have been doing that and warping forward 2 years.
Money trees
Wow.
didn't regenerate.
What? Yeah, money trees. Yeah, money trees should only grow once, and then it's just a tree, which you then chop down.
What do you do with the stumps once you've chopped a tree down?
Shovel, dig them up,
Oh,
or leave them there
leave
so
some,
beetles
yeah.
will show up. You definitely want at least a couple of stumps so that citrus beetles will show up.
And I think seasonally there'll be a kind of bug that gets attracted to stumps.
Yeah, there'll be others too.
I am curious. Does the game explain this type of stuff?
No.
No.
This is the problem with Animal Crossing is like it explains none of this. Like I was talking actually Talarian went on a rant about how he decided that Animal Crossing wasn't really his game. And like his big thing was the whole inability to rearrange your inventory. And I'm like, "Oh, you can rearrange your inventory. Like it's just not said anywhere." I found it out by accident. You can't auto sort it, but like you can drag stuff around in it.
it's one of those things. I feel like maybe there's an entire show's worth of conversation here, but like I want to know about like some games. It's okay if some games don't explain some like obscure systems to you and like they're made to discover, but things like how do I like what is the core gameplay loop? How do I do like basic inventory management? That should be explained.
I've basically had to research everything that I figured out. And only because like this basically is standing on the shoulders of every other Animal Crossing game to release, and it more or less is doing a lot of the same things. Like
Yeah, a lot of this
there's
stuff
a rabid fan base that knows these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of this is stuff that, people who've been playing the previous ones already know from those versions. But yeah, there's a lot of things that you just kind of have to discover on your own.
Well, and like the whole thing of like how you get hybrid flowers, and like I never would have figured that out on my own. Probably.
They're just going to happen on their own eventually. Even if you don't water the flowers yourself, eventually it'll rain, and some flowers will reproduce. But yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to catch a Twitter stream of that. And
unfortunately, that person locked their account because after posting that, she just was deluged with social contact. So I ended up recreating some of the images and put them on my blog, but mostly because the previous thread was essentially locked if you weren't following that user.
But like I discovered today, there is a type of butterfly that will only spawn near hybrid flowers.
What?
And I saw one for the first time today and caught it and sold it without realizing I had caught a new butterfly because I wasn't paying attention.
There's a kind of like praying mantis thing that also is that way.
I caught a praying mantis.
No, the praying mantis just appears because I don't have any hybrid flowers.
Color.
Oh,
okay.
Like a rainbow color praying mantis.
Well, I know there's the praying mantis and then there's the orchid mantis, and they both just seem to show up on normal flowers. But there may be other ones as well.
Could I just talk about how much I love the museum?
The museum is
Museum's
great.
Like, I love the aquarium section of the museum.
Yeah, they did
I
a
was
really
not
good job with it.
expecting the museum to be that impressive.
Yeah, right?
me neither.
Have you noticed that in the paleontology section, if you go over in the room where it's got all the branches that lead up to the silhouettes of the different person types,
Yeah.
there's one line that leads up to an empty spot. If you step into that spot, a light comes on over your head and lights you up.
I didn't notice that.
Neither did I.
That is the spot for humans.
I love the deep ocean room and just sitting there and watching the sardines swirling around.
Yeah.
The butterfly room is really...
The butterfly room reminds me of the butterfly exhibition at the Madison Zoo in Wisconsin. Like, it really reminds me of that. But yeah, like I'm trying really hard to play the game casually, so that I don't like just burn out. But also, I am a super grindy person, so like I'm having to fight my own instincts and doing things like Thalen says and harvesting all the trees.
Mm-hmm.
During the week, it's been a really good break for work for me. I get an hour for lunch, so I just boot it up, play for the hour, and it's just perfect.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing and taking like little mini breaks during the day and like hopping over to somebody's island and checking to see what they maybe have in their shop, and or opening my island up if I happen to have a hot item that's like really easy to make. I've had tulip wreaths twice now, and those are really
only easy to make if you started on a tulip island, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's true.
I have lots of tulips if you want them.
Like if you're willing to decapitate all your tulips, you can make an easy buck, because they were selling for $1,400 a piece. And
But you also have to have the pattern. And the pattern isn't given to you if you didn't start on a tulip island.
I wish you could trade patterns with people, kind of like you can with your villagers.
I mean, if you get a copy of a pattern you already know, you could give it to somebody else. But yeah,
I wish you could say like, oh, hey, I want to, and maybe limit it to like you can only learn a pattern from another person once a day or something like that. But like you could slowly teach each other patterns.
I've got a pattern now that's reliant on 2 other crafted items that I don't have patterns for to make.
I have a giant robot pattern. It requires a rocket and something else and a bunch of other components that I don't have. Like it requires burnt out circuits, which I'm occasionally fishing out of the trash bin.
Oh, it needs burnt out circuits? I should hold on to those then.
Yes.
I've just been selling them.
I will post what it requires. And if I ever get the other subcomponents, I will gladly make giant robots for people.
Yeah, it seems like one of those shows up each time Gulliver is on the island.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too, and I was selling them, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I think it like takes 20 of them, so like it's a ridiculous amount. But like I need a giant robot to now fight my kaiju, because I have a giant kaiju on my island.
Whose fault is that?
Out of everything that anyone has said about this game, that is the thing that makes me really wish I had a Switch.
I mean, at some point you need to get a Switch, just saying, because like Switch is the most wholesome of consoles.
Is it really?
It's just, I don't know, like it's the console I am always the happiest to buy games for.
It's the only console I buy games for.
Fair warning, now is not the time to try to buy a Switch.
No.
Right.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Could not get one if I wanted one right now.
I think my biggest problem with the Switch right now is that it really just doesn't have a great battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a lot better.
I may or may not have bought a battery pack just for the Switch.
I did pick up the battery upgrade version.
Yeah, but it's like not a massive battery upgrade at that.
No,
I mean, it's pretty significant, but
I have the
only because the original was so terrible.
Yeah.
But like I can literally run through an entire battery like while playing before bed. But the pack I got is, God, it's like 20,000, whatever that measurement is of batteries. And it's fast enough to charge it while it's playing, so it significantly extends the battery life. It makes the unit heavier, sadly. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Animal Crossing is charming. I'm still enjoying it. I feel like there's so much I just don't know.
Same, except I feel okay about that, quite frankly. At least for this game.
I am to the Googling a lot. But hey, somebody gave me a mustache, and I'm super happy about it. But I'm really looking for the beard. That's what I want, is the beard. But mustache is better than nothing. Like, that's okay. Like, anyway. Do we have any other topics we want to talk about real quick before we wrap it up?
I mean, talking about games that you play once a day, I've been hearing all about about Dragalia Lost updates. I'm really curious about them.
Not entirely sure we have time for that this week.
Yeah, it might take a minute, but I will just suggest that if people put the game down for a while, that they maybe pop in and check it out, because there are a lot of new things, and some of them are incredibly helpful.
Very.
Especially the fact that several of the world events that gave you a facility that gave you a boost are now just permanently available, and you can catch up.
Well, that's good.
That also means raising your castle level is going to be a lot easier.
Yep.
So is that why I could just like immediately raise my castle to the next level? Because, like, I didn't think I was that close to the next tier. And I was able to take it to, I think, level 9.
I'm not sure if they also changed some of the requirements for that. I have had my castle maxed out for a while, so I'm not the right person to ask.
Same.
Yeah, I get into this pattern where I forget that the castle, like, system exists, and I'm not always upgrading buildings.
They also added some items that will insta-complete the things you're working on in the castle, which is nice, and they're pretty generous with those.
I have a ton of them, but, like, how do you get them other than through them just randomly giving them to you?
There's some few other random places that they can crop up. Mostly I've gotten them from them randomly giving them to me. I think they can come out of the daily summon, but I have not seen that very frequently. But it is possible.
Okay, cool.
I don't use them, so I just have a massive stockpile of them.
I only use them if it's going to be like a really long thing. Like I auto-completed taking my castle to the next tier.
I'm at the point where I can't collect the resources to upgrade the next thing fast enough, so I actually like that I can only upgrade maybe 1 or 2 things a day. Because grinding resources is awful.
There's also a 3 times bonus on the Imperial Onslaught right now, which is really nice for that.
Oh, and dragons.
And dragons. Yeah. It's currently their 1.5 year anniversary, so they're giving away a bunch of free items, and they're being very generous with resources and summons.
And I have a question, since we haven't talked about this game in a while. For the void battles, is it just me, or have they gotten a lot easier recently?
I think they've gotten a lot easier.
Alright.
Because it used to be that, like, I would only regularly do the first couple, and now the later ones seem pretty easy. And I don't know if it's just... Like, I always do them in a random group. And I don't know if it's just, like, the community as a whole is just so overpowered that, like, you can steamroll them no matter what.
I think that's at least a part of it, because there's a couple new avenues to get ridiculously powered weapons at this point. So the people who are doing the higher level content, like the Advanced Dragon Trials and the new trial that can't remember what it's called. Something Uprising. Those you can craft really ridiculous weapons, and
I'm just going to say that does not affect the fact that the void battles are much easier because I solo them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been soloing up through and including the chimeras. I think there's only a couple that I don't solo just because they're better with specific weapons, and I don't feel like crafting the weapons for an entire team.
Same. I was started crafting the void battle weapons, and no. That is a rabbit hole I did not want to go down.
There was an event a while back that, like, allowed you to buy really good weapons for all the types that were, like, non-elemented. I don't remember what that event was, but, like, so I have, like, a ton of decent weapons now.
I mean, the Monster Hunter event did some of that.
I think that was it.
But I also discovered very, like, embarrassingly recently how the Chimera weapons work, and so I've been crafting a bunch of those because those are better than the previously available regular 5-star elemental weapons through the standard crafting trees. But they're way easier to craft by just doing void battles instead of the dragon weapons and the newer uprising weapons. So if you are interested in a relatively straightforward path to power, making the Manticore weapons and then the Chimera weapons is a pretty reliable way to do that.
I need to look into that, because, like, I don't think I've made any of the void battle-related weapons.
So the other thing that they've done is slightly painful, but also incredibly helpful, and that is that for some characters, not for all, they have added another layer on top of the mana circles called the mana spiral. And it's resource intensive, but it is their way of balancing some of the really underpowered early characters. So, I find it an interesting way to deal with that problem. Because it takes some characters that people just weren't touching at all from when the game launched and suddenly brings them up at least on par, if not superior to some of the currently released characters. But you have to invest a lot of resources in them.
I feel like the game is really good about giving you catch-up mechanics.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good with that. And I like that they occasionally, they will occasionally reset some things or give some, some endeavors that will reward some basic necessities. The other newly released thing that I greatly appreciate is that they've added a currency that will eventually let someone like me who's terrible at doing the high dragons to still get the resources from those fights very slowly.
Yes, I saw that. Because I have not been able to beat one of those high dragons yet.
I mean, I have beat two of them on the standard mode, but there are resources that you can only get by beating them on the higher difficulty modes that I don't even want to think about trying. But yeah, if you're very patient, you can get 50 pieces of currency a week to spend on those crafting materials.
Is that through the dragon battle thing? That's the gold dragon thing?
No, this is new, and you will randomly get them by completing quests. You can get 50 a week, and that seems pretty reasonable, because they just put them in a couple days ago, or yesterday maybe, and I already maxed out.
So are they still doing astral battles? I mean, it seems like it's been a really long time since I've seen an astral battle.
Yep. They're only available on the weekend, so if you don't play on the weekend, you won't see them.
That's probably it then.
And they're not every weekend, but yeah, they're almost, I think they're always on the weekend.
I tend not to do them.
I did them religiously when they started because I wanted the upgrade character and Wormprint upgrade materials that they gave you. And now that I have a lot of those, I don't care quite as much. But the nice thing about them is they don't cost any of your daily energy type resources to play, so there's no harm in trying if you feel like it.
Yeah, I've got over 100 of those astral shards that you get from doing them, and I don't know what to spend them on.
I mean, they reset the things that you can spend them on every month, so that's helpful. I definitely max out buying all of the the upgrade materials and things that you can get, but then after that, not so much. Anyway, lots of new stuff, lots of catch-up stuff. Somehow this game is still keeping me engaged, and now there are so many character stories that I can no longer keep up with them all.
I gave up on reading those a long time ago.
I was already having that problem in the original set of characters.
I mean, there are some that have definitely been worth reading. I will have to, I'm sure someone has archived this someplace, but there's a story about a sentient plant that just wants everyone to eat him, and he gets real sad that no one wants to eat him.
The stories are available on like one of the wikis because I've actually kind of read some of the ones through there just so I could like speed read them at my own pace.
Yeah, I would recommend reading that one just because it's real weird.
Yeah, I have no idea which that one is. That's okay.
I mean, there's only one character that's a sentient plant.
Yeah, that's.
I think his name is Pipple.
Yep, it's Pipple.
Pipple.
And yeah, this game is silly. It is a good diversion for me in these weird ass times. I appreciate that.
I'm not playing as often as I used to, but like I'm still playing a couple times a week.
I play at least daily and get the daily rewards from the quests, even if I don't do much more than that.
Yeah, I used to log in pretty much every single night and do all of the things for that day, and then anything else that I wanted to. But like now, I'm at least logging in just to get the freebies. But yeah, I may not make it more than that.
I definitely tend to play a lot during the events, and then just kind of try to remember daily logins in the meanwhile there. I'm glad they're bringing the Fire Emblem event back. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, luckily I got several characters during that event, but like not all of them. I'm real disappointed that I only got like one character from the Monster Hunter event.
Yeah, I had very bad luck on my pulls with that, and I went through more Warmight than I probably should have allowed myself to, and sad face.
The one I wanted the most was just the updated Berserker, and I did not get that one.
Yeah, it was sad I did not get him, but I did get the Monster Hunter Cerise. I like her a lot.
I got the one that's wearing the unicorn armor, and I don't remember which one that one is. It might be Cerise.
No, it's Cerise. I think that's Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa had that armor.
That's both funny and fitting.
Yes. I mean, there are so many characters right now that it's a miracle that I can remember any of them.
Yeah, I have the game open, and I was trying to figure out what the hell you guys were talking about.
I mean, Vanessa made a bit of an impression when I unlocked her originally.
Oh, yeah, no, but when you were like, oh, the Monster Hunter, I was like, did I get any of those? Which ones are they?
Like, I only know that they're Monster Hunter related because, like, they're wearing armor from Monster Hunter.
And I haven't played Monster Hunters, so it's just a second version of that character to me.
Yeah. Like, there was a fire element Berserker that was wearing the Rathalos set, I believe.
Yes.
And that was the one that I really wanted, but, like, mostly just because I like that character.
I think I didn't try too hard for that event because none of the characters were an element and weapon combo that I was interested in.
The one that I'm still looking for and I've never gotten is a water axe wielder that's a 5-star.
I have like 3 of them.
Like, I have leveled a water axe wielder up to a 5-star, but, like, that's not as good as it starting as a 5-star, so...
No, I have an axe-wielding Ellie. That's water.
She's real good.
She's awesome.
I have chased them every time they had a water axe wielder, and I've not gotten any of them.
I am missing both a water and a wind healer. That's 5-star.
I think I'm in the same boat. I think I leveled up one to 5-star. I have a couple gaps. Like I've noticed that there's a couple things that I'm missing, and I don't remember what all of them are off the top of my head. Anyway.
Yeah, there's too many characters.
Yeah, that's why I'm not trying too hard to get all of the characters of certain events, because it's hard to keep them all leveled up.
Well, and thankfully they roll them back through pretty regularly, so... I mean, sometimes more frequently than once a year, but, like, usually at least once a year. But anyway, we could probably talk about this for a while. Yeah, it's still a good game. I still kind of wish I had it on the Switch.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this show, and we will see you again next week. Good night!
Later.
Good night.
Not
Good night.
See you.